Hello, everybody. Welcome to Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades. I'm Matt Connerton, and to my right, of course, is Jane Cormier.
Hello there. How are you?
Good. This week I almost did say Gary, just because I don't know, I did Norm's show, so now I'm on autopilot. I'm just mentally exhausted, so I almost said Gary, the Honorable Gary S. Hopper. But no, you are Jane Cormier. No
Yes.
shape shifting.
No, not tonight. I think Gary probably will be back with us soon too, because he's
Okay.
feeling better.
That's good.
which I'm glad.
That's good.
Yes.
That's good.
So
And we have the Honorable John Burt.
yes, we do. Our guest tonight is
Yes.
Representative John Burt, and Goffstown and Weir. He tells us.
In Deeren.
And what?
Deeren.
I didn't know that.
Well, I'm currently Goffstown. This
Okay.
is an old badge,
Oh, I see. Okay.
and I'm too cheap to buy a new one
Oh,
because
my.
this one's still good. So I said, well, okay, I don't really represent Ware anymore, but I like them, so
Okay.
I'm going to leave it on there.
I wonder if Jane knows the answer to this. Now, we were debating on Norm's show.
Yeah.
Do you call someone... See, I always introduce Gary as the Honorable Gary S. Hopper.
You can do that.
But John was under the impression that you don't get that title of honorable until after you've left office.
I think that that's the general definition, is that if you're no
Really?
longer a sitting rep or state senator, whatever, you're the honorable. But I've heard it interchangeably. I've seen it used interchangeably as well.
Yes.
But
Okay.
I know that people
Because
have told me that you're supposed to be the honorable, and I'm like, okay.
All right, because if I've been calling Gary honorable all this time, and
Well, he is, so it works.
Well, okay, it was small h honorable, I guess. Yeah. Okay, all right.
Well, but you're still representative.
No,
Yes, you are.
because I had to leave my seat.
Oh,
I had
that's
to leave my seat when I
correct.
changed my domicile in May. I had to leave Belknap.
You did step down.
Belknap, yeah. So
Oh, so then I could introduce you as the honorable Jane Cormier.
you could, yes. Not that I care really.
Well, I will
I'm
going
not,
forward.
I'm not a big one for terms and labels and such.
That sounds good though. The honorable Jane Cormier.
I never use it.
Come on, you
No.
gotta like that a little bit.
No,
right?
I
the
really
honorable Jane Cormier.
Nah. It's kind of ostentatious, actually. It's almost like a little bit embarrassing when you have to stick that in there, I think.
Oh, all right.
But that's okay. It's a nice thought. Thank you.
I
Yeah.
tried.
But no, John is a sitting rep.
Yes,
So
yes.
he's the representative. So how's the campaign going?
Very well. The numbers look really good.
Good.
I think Goffstown, again, will stay true to who they are, and it is a conservative
Yeah, I've been
town.
hearing that they're mixing it up pretty good in Goffstown these days, politically speaking.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
Lots of going on, huh?
Yeah, a lot of behind the scenes going on, but I think we have a fairly good team, and I do wish them all to get in.
Now, who are
because
you running against?
I'm running against a sit-in rep, which this is why it's extra good that I win this seat.
Yeah.
It's Evelyn Connor, real nice lady. She's the former town clerk of Ware. Mm-hmm. Yeah, real nice lady. Just we think a lot different.
Yes.
She is against the Second Amendment, and I'm not. So she, the 5 anti-gun bills that we had.
Yeah.
Yeah, she voted for
Oh,
every one of
my.
them, and I've voted against every one. Matter of fact, I even got on the House floor and fought them, as you remember,
Yep.
and I even went to the Senate and fought them.
Yep. Absolutely.
And then, I voted against the gas tax and the 75-cent paint tax that I love talking about. And a lot of
I didn't even know about this
No,
one.
this was a crazy
oh
bill.
my
Really?
God,
Mamma
this-
mia.
the debate is priceless. I think it was Representative Baldessaro got up there and he goes to one of the Democrats that was, they're just foaming at the mouth for this
Right.
paint tax, and it's 75 cents per gallon. And Representative Baldessaro says, okay, half the money, or a percentage, whatever the number was, goes to D.C. And the Democrat goes, yes. And it's all parliamentary, so you have to look at the speaker and
Yeah.
say, can I do another question? And the
Follow
speaker
up
says
or-
yes.
Yeah.
And now, what happens to that money? And the Democrat responds, well, we don't know.
Why does half of it go to D.C.?
We don't know.
It just does. A
It
lot of
does
the
not-
money goes that
Yeah.
way.
Really? Yeah.
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 Sure. But that tax was so egregious.
Oh.
It was such a bad tax. And of course, every sitting progressive, and I say progressive because
Oh, we had
sometimes
Republicans voting for
that's
it, I
right.
think.
You have to be careful.
Yeah.
Republican and Democrat aren't the same as they were 10 years ago, right? So the progressives saying, we have a revenue issue. We need this tax, right? And of course, if you really study the budgeting and how things go, our revenues are right in line of where they've been projected and they're on target. We have a spending problem.
Yes.
So you go into this debate with progressives and no, they have to have more spending because we need the money. And I remember I believe that I had either a meeting, a committee meeting, or we had session that day, but I sat in the front row of the Senate when they voted on that bill. And it was one of the few bills that they actually roll called.
Yeah. They did?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
They did. And, it was interesting to see that the Republican Senate did. And I have to say a couple of Democrats, if I remember, killed that bill.
Yes.
So they're going to bring it back, I'm sure,
Well, that's what I tell my voters. I go door to door a lot, and I talk to people, and I say, look, if you, not to scare you, but if you don't vote for me and you vote for my opposition,
Sure.
The paint tax is going to be back, the $30 registration.
Oh, my.
Back in 2010, they
Auto
voted in a 30.
terrible.
Yeah, we repealed that. I voted to repeal it.
Yeah.
There was a whole bunch of them.
I remember that. And
Camping tax.
Yep, absolutely.
Camping tax?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
so if you
Really?
have a grandchild someday and he wants to sleep on a rock, the state wants to tax him for sleeping on that rock.
Yeah,
Wow.
with you, yes.
Wow.
You
I
know.
don't have any kids, so.
Well, still. The ethic of it, I think,
And I
is
don't
just
camp.
wrong.
Yeah, but no, I agree. Yeah.
Any tax, like, I remember that when we were discussing the gas tax, my seatmate, who was one of probably the most progressive in the Democratic, wing, and that's pretty progressive. And we got into this heated battle about the fact that, we need more revenue. No, we need to cut spending. No, we don't. We need more. And she goes, And so when the vote came to actually vote on it, I said, I would never vote for this. This is an egregious tax, and this tax is a lie to the New Hampshire citizens. It's a lie to your constituents. And she looks at me and she says, I can't wait to vote for that gas tax. And I thought to myself, really? I mean, are we that gone? I mean, she's salivating to raise someone's taxes, right? Because we haven't rated it enough on the first gas tax.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Who thinks like that?
I'll show you. I can't wait to vote for that.
I can't wait to vote for the gas tax. Okay, I wish I had a picture of that one.
Well, I had Representative, I think it was Robertson, sat behind me, the older gentleman.
Okay.
Yeah, he's from Keene.
Okay. Well, that's
Yeah.
that says a lot right there. Sorry.
Well, he was spewing off the mouth,
Yeah.
one day, and I turned around and I said, my God, are you a communist? And he looks at me and he goes, well, Representative Byrd, I almost think I am, to be honest.
Yeah. Well,
And
at
he
least you
admitted
told
it.
it.
Well,
Yeah.
that's it.
But you know what? I have more affinity for someone that will come out and actually say it
Yes.
Right.
than those that come up with contrived reasons to vote for
Yeah.
what they vote for because they just don't want to admit that they're socialistic or
Right.
that they believe in the greater good of everybody overrides the individual, which is the basis of that whole thing. So at least he admitted it.
Now, I don't know if you knew, and I was kind of upset when I first found out. Dan McGuire sees me at some event,
Yeah.
and he says, congratulations. I said, on what? Did I win something? He says, you did.
Oh my!
Well, I guess there's a group, which I didn't realize this is out there, and I got to find the website. I keep losing I've written it down twice, and
Yeah.
I've lost it. It's a group that rates every representative and senator local
Wow.
in the country on how conservative are they, how liberal are they,
Oh, my.
most effective
Okay.
on the Democrat-Republican side of getting bills passed. There's a whole bunch of groups that they rate.
Mm-hmm.
And I came in number 2 on being the most conservative state rep in New Hampshire.
Wonderful.
Well, I said to Dan McGuire, I said, well, who was number 1?
Who was it?
Warren Groen.
Okay, well that makes sense,
Well,
right?
the second he said it, I
Okay,
said,
yeah.
darn
But
it.
you'll take 2.
Well, I'll take.
Nothing wrong with that.
Well, I don't like 2, but I'll take
Nah.
2. I'll be number 2.
You know what?
Especially next to Warren. I mean, he
Absolutely.
is out there a little more than I am.
Yeah, well,
I haven't even heard that name. I don't know
he's
who that is.
very conservative socially and fiscally,
Okay.
Warren
Yeah.
Groen, and very outspoken on that. Which I can tell you that the same way I feel about the gentleman who behind you said, well, yeah, actually, I think I might be communist, is the same reason. I mean, I can respect that. And it's also why, Warren doesn't hide.
Yeah.
From the tough things. He'll tell you right out. And, whether you agree or not, you have to respect the fact that he will not hide it.
Right. Where is he from? Who does he
Rochester.
Yeah, Rochester.
I believe,
Okay.
Yeah.
And he's running again as well. He'll get in.
Yes. Oh, yes.
He's a nice man.
Yeah.
Really, really wonderful human being. We don't have near enough of those folks around.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a political thing. I think it's more, a moral compass thing. I don't know how many people, I can really count on two hands, maybe the number of people that I feel are just good people. That do things for the right reasons, not for political, having a seat at the table, or not for making themselves look good or feel good, but will just do the quiet thing behind the scenes, and you can count on them. They're few and far between.
There they are.
Sad to say.
Yeah. Well, like I always tell everybody, there's really only about 150. I feel, if that's a good number, representatives that really do their job up there.
Yeah, I agree.
The other 250, both sides, both parties, they look at their leadership paper.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I push red now. Yep. Okay.
Right.
So what do you think that's about? Do you think it's ambition? They just want to be they want to be career politicians, so they're trying to figure out how to advance, or what is that about?
No, usually most of them just sit there.
Are they lazy, or some of them just
Yes.
lazy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I talked to one representative because she says, "Well, this is my first term," and she says, "Wow, Representative Burt, you got up on the House floor." I said, "Well, of course." That's what I'm put up here for.
Right.
That's my job, is to
Right.
be up there to hopefully win some votes here.
Right.
And she goes, "Well, I've been here 14 years and I've never been up there once."
Wow.
And I'm like,
That's
why?
almost sad. Yeah. You know what? I think people do join. I have to say that I've wondered, because I came in from a non-political, life, and jumped in and was in this group of 400 plus, and it was a learning curve, but I observed an awful lot of different things. And I think that there's a number of reasons why people do it. I think people like John Burt here, they serve because they really care about the process, and they care about, having honest representation.
Yeah.
And John and I don't agree on everything either.
Right.
So I can tell you, but he's one of probably the 5 most honest guys sitting in those seats, which, you can't
thank
buy,
you.
right? I mean, that's worth
right.
money. That's
It
worth
is.
more than gold.
Yep.
But there are a lot of people, like you said, that are there, I think, for the license plate. Sad to say.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Because it offers some sort of status, I think. And there are some that are there to fight only for the talking points on their side. And you can tell who those are as you start to work with these folks, because they might say one thing to you in person, but then behind the scenes something else happens.
Sure.
And out on the vote on the floor,
Yeah.
you see changes.
Yeah.
So that goes click. It's interesting.
Well, one thing that you just jogged my memory by you saying that is, I can't remember her name, and I probably wouldn't say it anyways, just
Right.
out of fairness. But she was a representative in my first term that sat right in front of me, and she was an attorney. She only showed up when it was an attorney bill coming forward.
Wow.
And of course, even if it was a bad bill, she'd vote for it.
Right. Right.
And, because we used her seat all winter for a coat rack. That's where we put our briefcases.
And I do have an issue with that attendance thing.
I
when
do,
you have
too.
Attendance now the first, I understand that we have to miss, and I had to miss the second year as well, more than I wanted to. I had to, because I had a son that in school I had to go and pick up in afternoon, so I'd stay like as late as I could till 4:30 hit, and then I'd be sitting there, stuck at the school. And, so there was that. A few times I had to leave. But when you start seeing that people are there and voting like 20% of the time or 30% of the time, man.
Or zero.
Or zero.
I think there was 4 or 5 that was
They
zero.
should just.
Really?
Never showed up
We
once.
should put legislation in that doesn't let that happen, because that is the opposite of what
Yes.
service is supposed to be.
Yeah.
What the heck is that?
How pervasive is that? Are
he
there a
said
lot
this.
of people that?
Yeah, there's at least 4, I think, that
that
had
had zero.
attendance.
But I'd say that there's a good proportion, unsadly to say, that's under 50%.
No
Yeah.
kidding.
Oh, yeah, good proportion.
Yeah.
And
And I don't expect it from anybody, because, like Jane said, is that it is hard to show up every day.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
I am very fortunate that I do have perfect attendance for my 2 terms.
That's right. Good for
You
you.
know, and that is hard, and I don't
Yeah.
expect it.
Right.
From
It's
anybody.
a commitment.
Yeah, it
and,
is.
And, you stuck by it, and that's why
Well,
folks
that
should vote
happened
for
by
you.
accident. The first time, I think I was into my second year of my first term, and somebody came up to me like late March, and we're almost winding down things, and they said, "Well, congratulations." I said, "On what?" "Well, you got perfect attendance." I said, "They keep track?" And I do?
Yeah.
I said, "I didn't know I had that." I said, I did miss one committee meeting. And they said, "Well, they don't count that."
Right.
But I did.
Sessions.
Yes, it was house sessions. And they said they don't count the committees.
Wow.
And because I did miss one, and because I had to be in Boston.
Yeah.
And,
It
they
happens.
Said, yeah.
Wow.
And,
Good for you.
but it was really funny is the last house session in my first term, if you don't mind me saying this little story, was June 6, 2012, was our last session. June 1st, I'm being thrown into the hospital for my heart issues.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So on June 4th, Monday, the doctor, I'm laying there on the table ready for heart surgery.
Yeah.
And he says, "Is there anything else, Mr. Burt?" And I said, "Well, yes, there is." I said, "June 6th is my last house session, and I got perfect attendance, and I don't want to miss it."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Well, you do realize you're having heart surgery." And I said, "Yeah, I do. And, but is there any way we could speed this up?" Because I don't know what they were going to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And luckily, they went up through my arm and they found, major blockages. They said, "I shouldn't be here. I should be dead. There's zero chance that I should be here." And, for some reason I am.
There you
Yeah.
go.
So they put 2 stents in my heart, and then the next morning, Tuesday morning, I'm laying in bed, and the nurse comes in. She goes, "Mr. Burt." I said, "Yes." "Who do you know?" And this is at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I said, "I don't know anybody here." "No, you know somebody pretty high up." I said, "No, really, I don't know anybody. I was just given orders. If you pass a stress test, which is scheduled for 8:30, you get to go home." And I've never seen that.
Wow.
And I'm like, "Whoa, I don't want to go," because the first stress
Sure.
test on Friday almost killed me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you had just had the, procedure, I'm
Well,
sure.
that's it. And
Yeah.
I'm all scared. Well, it was 8 o'clock the Monday morning
Yeah.
when I had the heart surgery. And I'm
Right.
going, "I don't know about this." And she says, the doctor says, "You get to go home. If you don't, you're here for a day like we want."
Okay.
Right.
There you go.
So I went down past it, and by noon I was out of there.
That's
Oh my
amazing.
gosh,
That's
huh?
amazing.
And what was
Yeah.
so funny was the looks, because at first I wanted to keep it a secret
Yeah.
of what's happening, because I am a very private person.
Yeah.
And plus, we just cut the hospitals $200 million.
Right.
I
Right.
told my wife, I
Oh
said,
my goodness.
"Don't tell
Don't
them
talk.
I'm a state
Oh
rep."
my goodness.
They have long needles, and they'll be in there using them on me.
Yeah.
And it was funny because the second everybody found out, I was just beyond surprised. I lost count. It was about 16, 17, I was guessing. High people, and I won't mention the hospital, is that came and saw me, and they thanked me. One doctor came in. He was probably number 10, 11, and I'm like, "What is going on here?" And he comes in.
About the bill?
about cutting the hospitals $200 million.
And they thanked you?
Yep.
I didn't hear this. You didn't tell me that story.
Oh, I was beyond
Holy
surprised.
moly.
So the doctor, this one doctor, he was a doctor. He comes in and he goes, "Representative Burt." And I said, "Well, John's fine." "No, sir. It is representative." And I was still learning how to be a representative.
Yeah.
I still
Yeah.
didn't like that name.
Yeah, yeah.
And I go, "Okay."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Thank you." I said, "Thank you for what?" "For what you did." He says, "It was not a hard decision." And I said, "No, we took a pretty beating on it. They
Yeah.
beat us on it hard."
Yeah.
And he goes, "I want to tell you one thing." And this is in 2012. A doctor in 1999, early 2000, bought this $50,000, $80,000 piece of equipment. It's in the basement of the hospital. We're paying $5,000 a month maintenance. It was never taken out of the box because the doctor left. Everybody forgot it was there. So all those years, they were paying $5,000. He said, what we did by cutting their budgets.
Pay attention.
They went and they found people that were doing identical jobs as them.
That's right.
You know, and they
That's what happens.
Oh, they did. They really are efficient now. And I was like, okay. So I was just beyond excited.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Because
Really.
you don't stop to think of that side of it, right?
No.
Especially when you've taken the beating sitting in the seat.
Right.
Oh
you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
That's
well,
good.
as you know, I mean, sitting up there, you know, people hammer on you.
Sure. They hammer sitting in the seat and they hammer behind too. So,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Well, you know, but just the looks on everybody's faces, because one thing I did do is I called the Speaker O'Brien, because Friday night, you know, they basically told me, you know, I
Yeah.
better tidy up any affairs that I had, you know, because it didn't look good.
Wow.
You know, what happened in the stress test and all
Right.
the results that were coming
Holy
back.
moly.
And I'm like, oh, okay.
Do they really like? How do they say that when they? Say, I don't mean to be morbid with the question, but I'm just genuinely curious.
How do
Like,
they tell you you're going to die?
yeah, how do they present that to you verbally?
Well, I mean, he said chances are I wouldn't,
Okay.
but he said, you know, things during the stress test didn't, you know, he said, you know, you shouldn't be here.
Right. Right.
You got major problems going on inside.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to wait till Monday to get you calmed down. We're going to do some tests so we know exactly what to go forward. You know, and they said, you know, if need be, they could jump in there today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, take your time. Take your
Right.
time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's not rush this.
Right. Oh, okay. So he didn't come to you and say, you know, hey, you're probably gonna die.
Well, no, he said, you know, that, but if there was anything major, I probably
okay.
should tidy it up just in case.
Gotcha. Okay.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah. So the first call I made was to Speaker O'Brien.
Yeah.
What'd you say to him?
I told him where I was, and he said okay. And this is like 9 o'clock at night.
Oh.
You know, maybe 9:30, 10 o'clock. And I said, Bill, you know, I want to stress one thing. I don't expect anything when I die. But Sean Cox, he sat 3 seats from me, and he passed away, and he was only like 34 years old.
Wow. What happened to him?
I can't remember what happened to him, but he's a state rep, and he
Yeah.
died
Yeah. Oh my
during my
goodness,
first term.
34.
Oh, yeah, he
Holy
was real young, just a tragic.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I was going through my emails the other day, and I found one from him.
Gosh,
And I'm like,
really?
poor Sean. You know, I really, you know, he was a great kid.
Huh.
They lowered the flag at half staff. I don't expect nothing when I die, because the Constitution says no one man shall be different than any other man. Well, they aren't lowering the flag for everybody. They only lower it for an elitist club.
Yeah.
And I think that's wrong. And now for our military, you know, we shouldn't lower it every time one passes away, because, for one, we never did that prior to now.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it was really reserved for the president and maybe a few other people.
Yeah.
But now we're lowering it for everybody that stubs their toe. So I said, Bill, you go tell Governor Lynch if I don't make it this weekend, or I don't make it during surgery or whatever, I'm telling you, what my wish is to have that flag raised another 10 feet. Because that's America to me. You know, when you lower the flag, it's a sign of defeat. You know, it's weakness. And it's like, no, our flag at all times stays high.
Right.
Right.
So I said, make sure. And he goes, this, you know, John, you got more things to worry about.
Yeah.
Let's get you healthy. And I said,
Right.
I'm probably going to make it. But I just want you to know, Bill, it's very important to me. I'll be very angry, and I'll haunt Governor Lynch if he lowers that flag. So you march right in there if something happens.
Yeah.
And luckily nothing did. And
Yeah.
everything went good.
Very good. Well, it's a good
Yeah.
happy ending there anyway, right?
Oh, yeah. But the look on everybody's faces when I walked in Wednesday morning, they were like almost looking at a ghost, because I didn't tell anybody I was coming.
Yeah.
And they were like,
What are you doing here?
what are you doing here? Didn't you just have heart surgery? I said, yeah.
God.
You should have pretended you were a ghost just to mess with him.
I should have. Well, you know, it was really funny. You know, Seth Cohen?
Yes.
Yes. And I think George Lambert, they both came to me on a bill.
Okay.
They wanted passed.
Okay.
And I had strict orders to sit in my chair and push the buttons. That's it, to
Right.
vote. Don't do anything else.
Yeah.
Don't get on the House floor. Don't stress.
Right.
And the doctor says he would allow me to go to the State House. Well, they came up and they said, John, we really need you on this one bill. could you go up there and talk about your heart and, play it up?
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
I said, no, I'm sitting right here.
Good
like
for
a-
you.
they put some pressure on
And
me.
that's nasty.
That's politics, though. Huh? Wow, that's hardcore. That's hardcore.
That is hardcore politics.
No. Oh,
They saw an opportunity. We could use John here. He just got out of the hospital.
my God. I'm just.
Wow.
Okay.
So I said no, and
Yeah.
I stuck to my guns.
Good for you. Good for you. I think I might have voted against it just on principle of what they did there.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, that's what I thought. I said, people are going to see this.
Yeah.
You
What
know,
the
I'm
heck?
up there spewing about my heart.
Yeah. I mean, and that's pretty personal too, especially so close to the event.
Well,
it wasn't
that's
like
it.
it was 2 weeks ago. It was
Right.
like 4 days ago.
Right.
Yeah. Well, what was really funny is because, and the reason I think they wanted me to use it is I did use my heart prior. I didn't know I had a heart issue. And we exected, and that's in committee. So we had an exec session to vote on this bill, and it came out 15-1. The 15 to Bert.
You were the one.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was the only one. So I get up, and it was on Valentine's Day. So I get up on the House floor, and I said, I said it was Valentine's Day, and I fell in love with this bill. And then I said, now I'll tell you all, if you vote with me, you'll always be in my heart.
Oh my.
Well, then the next bill, they killed my poll tax.
Okay.
So that broke my heart. Well, the next bill, I used that, and this was before my heart surgery. I got up there and I just said, and as you know, half of the battle is theatricals.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So I sit up there and I said, you guys broke my heart. And everybody went, aww. And I put my head down. And I'm waiting for the speaker, O'Brien, to gavel me. So I'm watching the watch, the clock, not a watch.
Yeah.
And then I said, you broke my heart when you killed my House bill. And I think it was 15, whatever the number was.
Yeah.
And everybody, because they're like, what bill did we kill?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And little did you know the
Well-
heart was going to come back into play.
That's it.
Wow.
Yeah, so I used my heart a couple times,
Wow,
and then
the
all of a
irony.
sudden,
It used you.
yes,
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
oh my. So if you get back in, what do you think's going to happen to the house? What do you
Well,
think?
for one, I will get back in.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah, no, numbers look good. I'm gonna win.
Good.
I think the House is gonna change.
Do you think it'll go supermajority or just majority?
I would love a supermajority, but I will accept a good majority.
What is the difference between a majority and a supermajority? when you say-
Majority is 240, 235 to say 170, whatever equals up to the 400.
Yeah.
That's a good majority. Right now, I think it's 211, 210.
No, I'm not big sure on the number
to
thing.
190. So that's if you grab some people on one side, it's harder to get bills passed.
Well, I think it's supermajority too, is you can override vetoes, correct?
Yeah, my first term,
Governor
we had
Patrick.
300 state reps,
Right.
Republicans,
Imagine
to
that.
100 Democrats. The
Wow,
first time
yeah,
in
that's-
history.
Wow.
That was 210. right?
210.
Yeah.
Yep.
Really?
And
Wow.
also 187 new representatives, which was the largest freshman class ever hit the state
Isn't that
house.
That's
amazing?
remarkable. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. We had more freshmen than all state houses have in the rest of the country have state reps.
Yeah.
We had more freshmen that year
Isn't
because
that interesting?
I don't think there's any other state house that has more than 187 representatives.
No. The fact that we have 4 is like the third largest political body or
In this
legislative body
in
in
the
the
free
world.
speaking
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I like it.
Oh, I do too.
And there are I know there's a lot of people that think that we shouldn't be doing it or, only meet like biannual,
Yeah.
biennial, I guess. Or, but you know what? In the end, I think the process is really good. The process makes sure that the citizen voice is heard in the House, which you can't guarantee
Yeah.
that in other state legislatures.
Well, and the thing, what I feel is if somebody really, really wants to know their state rep, they can.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You go to Massachusetts, California, the chances of you ever
Right.
meeting the state rep, for one, is 0. And for him to ever talk to you is going to be 0.
Right. Absolutely. And of course, they can just kill bills too. They can just put the bill in the drawer, and the
Yes.
bill will never see the light of day. But in this House, one person one representative, can say, even if the committee killed the bill, I want the floor to hear the debate.
Yeah.
Right.
That's great. I think
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the best that we can hope for
Yes.
Yeah.
in government.
Yeah. And we all do it for $100 a year.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
California's like $120,000 a year.
Yeah. Well, even
They're the
Massachusetts is up there too.
Yeah, or 70 something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then plus per diems and all
Of
this
course,
other stuff.
all that other stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, citizen legislature,
Yeah.
something good to be said about it.
Well, and that's what really upsets me about. I think it's Custer's side is beating up Mayor Linda about taking the $3,300 pay. Mayor Linda's running for, is it CD2?
Yes.
Yes. And she drew out $3,300 one month to pay herself. Well, there's a law, for one, that says that
legal.
she's allowed.
Yes.
Okay.
And the reason they do it is because if you, Matt, want to run and you have some rich donors that are willing to support you and say, you know what, Matt, we know you don't have the money to run, or I'm assuming you don't, because it takes millions.
Right.
You are allowed to draw a paycheck out of there because you're going to quit your job to run for
Sure.
a U.S. seat.
Right.
And just for the leftist news media that is down the road to beat her up on it over the headline, and then they tell the truth in the story, but
Yeah.
who's reading the story?
Right.
Well, what was
10%.
the headline? How was the headline written? Do you remember?
Garcia, takes campaign funds for wages.
Okay.
Yeah. Makes it sound like she's usurped the system or done something
Right.
less
Yeah.
than.
But then you read just the second paragraph down in there, it tells the whole thing that it's
Yeah.
all legal and everything else.
Yeah.
And this is the reason it's there. They even explain it.
Yeah.
But it was the headline.
Right.
And it's like, why?
Well, because that's what they're good at. That's
Yeah.
what the leftist media is good. And anyone that tells me that the media isn't leftist, I say is just not paying attention.
Yeah.
We have talk radio. Conservatives have talk radio, and of course some sites. The Drudge Report. Even the Drudge Report can, isn't necessarily conservative. But boy, your mainstream media.
I actually think of it with a little bit different dynamic. I think of it as you've got corporate media and you've got independent media. Mm-hmm. Because corporate media, it's all I kind of lump it all in together. Like there are certainly, like MSNBC, for example, obviously is left wing, and you've got a lot of conservative talk radio. But I kind of think of it all as, it's all for profit, and they have they have sponsors that they have to appease and whatnot. So they do what they have to do to stay in business and run it as a business. And then I think of independent media, something like this, for example, I would describe as independent media. We don't have sponsors to answer to, so we can say what we want, and
Right.
and that's kind of the paradigm that I look at it. I look at most media as being big media, corporate media, whatever you want to call it, and then everything else. And I think the everything else is where you find real sort of honesty, because we don't have to.
You don't have to go to the sponsors, play to the play to the money.
Right.
But that might be true. I think that you're being, I think you're absolutely correct about it. But I think that you're maybe not seeing the whole side there when you have headlines that come out like that in a critical campaign.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. That's
and in print media.
Oh, sure.
Print media tends.
Yeah.
I mean, right down the line, you could do. Maybe Wall Street Journal even isn't the conservative
Yes.
hotspot that it used to be.
Right. Right.
They all lean left, wicked left. Even the ones that you would hope, like Union Leader, used to be more conservative in its approach. Now, it's turning moderate.
Is it? I haven't paid attention to the UL really,
is.
but.
I think so.
But what you said, Matt, is there is alternative news. And the big news people are nervous
Oh yeah.
because they're losing viewers
Wicked.
and shares.
Oh yeah.
Wicked.
It's
Look
like
at the newspapers. Just in
Yeah.
the past 5 years, because I'm a big reader. I mean, I'll go to a store, I'll pick up 5 newspapers at a time.
Yeah.
I'll read the Boston Globe at the same time that I'm going to read my little local, Laconia Daily Sun.
Yeah.
I just like to read.
Yeah.
But every paper that you pick up, watch the ads. Watch what's in the newspaper, and they are becoming so thin because there's just no sponsorship in there anymore.
Yeah.
And, that kind of tells the story, whether we're going to media, social media for our news now or whatever. But newspapers are going out of business.
Oh
right
yeah.
and left.
Yeah. I mean, I think the internet really it's just
Just a
Well,
matter
but
of
I
time.
think the alphabet channels are in trouble.
Yep.
The TV channels.
Yep.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Because what is there? I don't quite understand it, but what is it called? Hulu or
Yeah.
Hulu, yeah.
Yeah, TV.
Yeah, you go on, you just watch whatever you want on demand. I mean, everything's becoming on demand.
On demand,
Yeah.
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 That'll probably have a big, we'll have to see. 5 years from now, I bet we're looking at a very different media.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I look at my cable. I almost never turn TV on. You know, I'll watch community access, on channel 16, and occasionally I'll watch, the Slightman's meetings. I do like that.
Yeah.
So I wished it was on the internet live, because I'd look at getting rid of my
Yes.
cable.
Me
A lot
too.
of people are, yeah.
We're paying $64,
expensive.
$67 a month
I would
for
love to.
basic.
Absolutely. But with having a son, 14-year-old, we like to watch certain shows,
Yeah,
Like the History
yeah.
Channel, sometimes really good.
Yeah.
Food,
I love
we like
history.
the Food Network because my son and I both like to cook.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we'll sit down there with a bowl of popcorn. Like, okay, which one are we going to watch, So you lose all of that. I don't know if
Now,
you
my
can-
wife loves Criminal Minds, is it?
Oh, yeah?
Every Tuesday night, I think that's the one.
Okay, I know that. I've never seen it, but I know the show you're talking about. Yeah.
Now, can you get that on one of those Hulus? Or
I don't know.
You might be able to. A lot of those shows are on there. Hulu or Roku or there's
Really?
But she can get it
Yeah.
the next day
Okay.
on I think it's CBS or ABC, whichever one airs
So you
it.
can
Yeah.
see it, but
Yeah.
you just have to wait.
You got to wait one day. So
Yeah.
Okay.
because my wife and I have talked. Why do we have cable?
Yeah.
That's
No, absolutely.
$740 or whatever it is.
Yeah,
Downton
it is
Abbey I'd
expensive.
miss.
You add
I'd
it
miss
up.
Downton Abbey. How could we see PBS, though? Wouldn't be able to get PBS.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
And I like a lot of their
And that's not
programming.
on the internet.
I've never been able to see it on the internet.
But see, a lot of this stuff too you can get now through Netflix.
Downton Abbey Live? I think Netflix only has the
I don't
older.
know.
I think it only has the previous
Okay.
Yeah.
years.
Okay.
Because I've tried to look. They
But
don't
I bet
have.
you that's going to change.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet too. Yeah.
Public funding, and that really pees me off. I have to say, that we have to pay. That it's the only station. PBS is the only station that takes taxpayer money.
Yeah.
Why?
And how much does Big Bird make a year? I heard hundreds of millions.
I know. I mean, why don't they just go privatize it? Why do they have to do that? I don't get that.
Yeah.
But I still like Downton Abbey. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will watch that, and a couple of other times they do good opera programs on PBS. So I'll watch those too.
See, I need my news channels, my multiple news channels, and I'll even put C-SPAN on. I'm that much of a political nerd.
Yeah.
I mean, I won't watch hearings and stuff. That gets boring. But
Right.
sometimes, like on the weekends, I'll have really good lectures and
Yep, I've
all
watched
kinds
those
of
too.
stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, on C-SPAN, where is Code Pink? Since 2008,
They're gone, aren't they?
Yeah, they're disappeared.
Yeah.
But will they be back in 2016 if we get a Republican president?
Who knows? I think a lot of that was just driven to try to make the mom. What was her name? Cynthia? Was it Cynthia? What was the mom's name for Code Pink?
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's Cindy. I can't remember her last name
Sheehan?
now.
Oh,
Cindy Sheehan.
yeah.
Cindy Sheehan. It
Yes.
is Cindy Sheehan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, that was just like let's bat the Republican administration as bad and as hard as we can, and they used Code Pink to do it. And then after
But they were
Obama
in
got
some
in,
of those meetings. They'd get dragged out.
Oh, yeah.
I'd watch C-SPAN. There they are. "Wah," start yelling, and
yeah,
the security guard come over and grab them, lug them
yeah,
out.
yeah. You're right. We don't see them anymore. I hadn't thought about that for a long time.
Every now and then on
Yeah.
my Facebook page, I'll throw that up. Where's Code Pink?
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, because the same is going on. Nothing's changed.
Oh, in some ways, Obama's Bush on steroids with the drone attacks and everything.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Guantanamo Bay still.
Oh, yeah. He said he was
open.
going to close it. So much for that.
He will before he leaves.
You think so?
Yeah, he's already made. He's already started the process, evidently, from
really?
what I've read, that to begin the closing of it.
No, the
before he
thing
leaves.
makes me nervous is who's he gonna pardon?
Who knows?
He's been miserly so far in terms of pardons. I've looked at numbers. Like he's pardoned less than Bush, way less than Clinton, because Clinton went wild with
Crazy.
the pardons.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Oh,
Clinton
Yeah,
did?
God, he
Clinton-
went nuts before he left.
Oh yeah.
But
And
did he?
Mark
was a
Ri-
Ma-
Mark
Ma-
Rich.
I mean, how crooked can you
know.
be?
I know.
Was,
So he did pardon some bad people.
Oh yeah.
was it Mark Rich or Frank Rich?
No,
it was
it-
Rich.
it was Mark Rich, yeah,
yes, I know.
yeah.
I mean, that one was egregious.
Yeah.
You couldn't even find that as any kind of excuse for that one. It
Right,
was such a
right.
bad one.
Yeah.
Bad man. You
Yeah.
know.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I don't know about that. But he's waiting later. If you watch now, where we have the The federal agencies are now, remember all those years when he first got in, they were really screaming at him, the immigration groups, the people that wanted to have it now.
Right.
What are you doing? What are you doing? And he would always say, well, you have to wait. We're going to get it done. We'll wait. Well, he's just waiting till late.
After the election?
Yeah, they're all going to be 400,000 now. 400,000 of all of those kids that have passed through this country in the past year are going to be naturalized. And he doesn't have the right to do it unless there's this one little line stipulation that says that he can do this individually for people that are on a refugee status basis. That law or that statute was written on an individual basis to allow the president in a specific case.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. That came in under Bush, right?
I don't know when it came in.
If it's the one I'm thinking of, it came in under Bush. I don't think he ever.
DAC. It's DAC.
Is it DACA?
It's something like that. Yes,
Yeah.
I think it is.
Okay.
And that's what he's going to use, even though that was only supposed to be on an individual basis. He's going to bring 400,000 of those kids under that basis. And after putting the advertising out to these nations like Guatemala and stuff, come on over. It's okay, because if you let your child come over, we'll be able to give them asylum, and you can join them later. I mean, there was advertising. We saw news reports that were putting the advertising out over TV stations in these countries. Okay, so over the past year and a half, they've been coming in and flooding the gates. It's a scary thing.
Yeah.
So that's coming out, and I saw it on Drudge just before we left. There was a report in the federal, whatever federal unit is doing that, has now bought. It was some absurd amount, like 14 million cards, green cards, and that's how they outed it. Because they kept asking when this was trickling through. All of the news agencies at the press conference were asking, well, is this going to happen? Is this going to happen? Well, evidently it's going to happen. And they know the 400,000 are a done deal, but they're asking now, why were these cards purchased? These green cards, I guess they're like plastic, whatever. Why were 14 million of these cards purchased? And they're not, there's no talking now. So, and he did say himself at some press conference that after the election is when the immigration will go into effect. So we haven't done anything with the borders. The borders are still porous as heck. And we're going to grant people, kids, I love kids. I love kids. Lawlessness is lawlessness. And we're going to reward that. All those poor people that waited in line, the legal way, the right way to become citizens, are now just like, whatever.
Yeah.
It's not right.
I have kind of an unusual perspective about the border thing. I've always felt that we as a country have been fundamentally dishonest with ourselves about the border, because we do all this yelling and screaming about the border, I feel like our policy under both Republicans and Democrats has always been, okay, we say to these people, okay,
yes,
you Mexicans, you stay over there, you stay on your side, you're not allowed to come over here illegally, even though there's thousands and tens of thousands of businesses here that would love to hire you, wink, wink, and then, okay, nobody's looking, come on over.
I know, you're right.
That's what we've really been doing.
But that doesn't make it okay. The thing is we have to get people in office that will put that legislation through to stop it from happening. We have to get to those businesses that are breaking the law and say, you know what, you want to do that? You're going to pay big time if you do that. We're going to find out, and you're going to pay big time to stop the practice. You're right.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter which administration. It's fundamentally dishonest.
But I don't think it'll ever happen, what you just proposed. Because the people who really run things, and we always talk about follow the money. If you want to know who controls things, look at the donor list. People who own factories, who own these big farms, whatever it is, they don't want that border
No,
sealed.
they don't. But you know what can happen? We saw in the past 2 weeks a country hysterical over something called Ebola. Okay? You want to see those borders get enforced? Let a pandemic come into this country and watch and see how fast those corporations, afraid for their own, afraid of, don't forget the money.
That is probably what it would take.
Right. Something on that
what it would take.
Might get it done, because it's beyond political at that point.
Right.
It's not even just the life or death factor of pandemics, because don't forget, those guys that are buying all of that, you can't come in here, wink, wink, like you said, but come on in, we'll get you a job, right?
Yeah.
Where are the jobs going to go in a pandemic? everything shuts down in a true pandemic.
Right. Right.
Right? So it's terrible to say.
Yes. Yeah.
That might be the only way that we would see it enforced
Yeah.
in any real way,
Yeah.
unless we got people in there that would, politicians that will actually. How many politicians, if you heard, said we need to, firm up that border? They always say it.
Oh, they all
say it.
They all talk about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
but then nothing happens.
Yeah.
Nothing happens.
Right.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, I have such a
That's why
disagreement with that.
I've just never cared about the border thing. I really don't. I just kind of shrug. It's like it's never gonna change in my lifetime. I honestly don't think
It
it'll
might
ever
not
change.
change, but you know what, Matt? You should be concerned because we could have ISIS coming through that border so
We are.
easily.
That's what I'm hearing.
When you have little pockets of people that want to kill and maim and murder people on a level that we have never seen in our lifetime, we should be concerned about the border. What's it going to take before we understand that the guy in Oklahoma that cut off that woman's head inside a workplace,
Right.
we can't call it terrorism, as he's screaming Allahu Akbar? Yeah, sorry, that's
Right.
what it is. I mean, and we better start paying attention to it because we see other countries battling this right now. Because they did have porous borders. Look at Greece. Look at look at
it's
countries
chaos,
having
yeah.
total chaos right
Chaos.
now.
Yeah.
We should care. It goes beyond being a big-hearted nation at that point.
Now, the several reports I've seen look at the bottom of Mexico. It's very narrow. And I heard there's armed guards lined up, and they shoot first.
You mean to come into their country?
And to come into
Right.
Mexico.
Yeah, but a
Because
lot
I
of
guess
people-
the southern countries
Yeah.
below Mexico is even worse than Mexico.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
they still have a lot of people get through because a lot of people
they pay.
come through. Yeah. Oh yeah.
pay.
Yeah. The what do they call them? The coyotes. The
Yeah.
people who bring people across the
Sure,
border.
they do.
Yeah.
They've been making a lot of money doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
And so they take these poor kids, and they were funded to do it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So they kept the business going, and the kids just kept coming in. We have local communities. I don't know about. I thought there was one in New Hampshire, if I recall. I can't remember where it was, but there are communities all over this country that do not know how they're going to educate these kids. Some of these kids
Right.
can't even speak English,
Right.
and they can't ask questions. The teachers can't even ask questions about where they came from
Yeah.
or their situations at home. You cannot do that. You have to sign a waiver. If you're going to be in that school administrative or a teacher, you cannot ask those children any questions. How do you educate them if you don't know where they're coming
Yeah,
from?
that's strange.
How do you
Yeah.
get to them? How do you fix anything that could be fixed? We're
Well, then the
so
taxpayers
backward.
are paying, multi-millions of dollars each in communities.
Absolutely.
And it's the
all the
local.
special services, too, for these
Yeah.
kids because sometimes they can't even speak the languages.
Right.
It's sad where we've gone in political correctness.
Yeah.
And it all stems from not, we're a republic. Republics only thrive when you stick to the laws of the republic. It's the only way the republic will fold when the laws become.
That's how Rome fell.
Yeah, it
Had
is.
too much welfare.
It
and
is
They
how
were
Rome
taking. They're doing Rome did exactly what we're doing right now.
Right. Moral relativism,
Yep.
and whoever was in power that had the money. We're cycling through the same thing, and people think that we're the United States. This can't happen here.
Right.
Wake up, because it is happening
Well, it
here.
happened to England.
Yes.
The
Well,
sun never sat on the empire.
after that, yeah.
Before World War II,
Mm-hmm.
the sun never sat on the English Empire. There was always sun shining on somewheres that was controlled by England, and now it's totally gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that can be us.
Well, yeah. Hopefully, I'm a big believer that we might not be able to do much about the federal situation that we're facing right now, but I have great hopes that we can save New Hampshire.
Yes.
And by building New Hampshire strong and keeping New Hampshire strong, we can at least have maybe some firewall against the intrusion of the big federal government, tentacles reaching in and stealing New Hampshire. That's all we can really do. That's all I've tried to do for 3 years,
Yeah.
whether it's been sitting in the seat or talking to groups of people all over the state. New Hampshire has to save New Hampshire first. And it's doable if we can
Yeah.
find good people to get in there and serve,
Yep.
But it's regrettable we have to think like that.
But we may have to put a border fence on the Mass line.
I don't know about a border fence, but yeah. Not good.
Before we run out of time, John, you should remind us all about November 4th is the big day, right?
Yeah, November 4th, everybody votes. So make sure.
Do you have a website?
Yes.
Okay, what's that info?
BurtNH.com. So it's BURTNH like New Hampshire .com.
Good. And all
Yeah.
the information is on there if they want to sign up and maybe hold a sign.
Yes,
Or, you know,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I could use the help, especially in the Goffstown area. I think I got Ware and Deer fairly covered, but I do have a couple open spots up there.
Good.
So I need help in Goffstown.
Right.
Because I got 2 polling places, so I need twice the people.
Yeah.
And remember, it's never regional. People think that these regional races, if they're outside of the towns, it doesn't matter. No, because good representation goes well beyond the boundary
Yes.
of that region.
Yeah.
So support the good people that will support you for low taxes and small government, and
Yeah,
that's Rep. Burt.
You're voting on things that affect the whole state. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah, I know, like with donations, people have donated money from all over to be honest, all over the country. I've received money.
Isn't that something? Good
It
for
is.
you.
It just, I raise about 4,000 a year,
Yeah.
or 4,000 each election.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, a lot of the money's it's all over.
Huh,
Good
that's
for you.
interesting.
And I'm
Good for
like,
you.
wow. Yeah, I got a gentleman in Texas that sends up a nice donation.
Isn't that something?
Wow.
Huh? Yeah, he's
Yeah.
watching the race.
Yeah.
Watching what you're doing, probably, too.
Well, that's it. Yeah. And he just says, he knows that I am doing good here, and hopefully it will trickle over.
Isn't that great, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, Texas is a great place to be right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ebola aside.
Well, I was going to say,
Just don't go to Dallas right now, okay?
Yeah. 40% of the growth in this country is Texas.
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, it's
huge.
huge.
I had no idea.
North
Wow.
Dakota, I think, is the other one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard North Dakota's
Huge.
booming. Yeah,
Oh.
because I think they have the lowest unemployment rate in the country.
They
right?
do.
North
They
Dakota?
do.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, Texas is on steroids right now.
It is.
I didn't know
It's
that. Wow.
fire. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. They're huge
Yeah.
in jobs creation.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. They just built a brand new highway down there. I want to go down someday and visit my friend. It's a private road.
Good for them.
Yep. Private company built it. It's a toll, and you drive whatever you want.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I think there might be a 90-mile-an-hour speed limit, but I don't know if
That
it's
sounds fun to
enforced.
me.
Yeah.
And they said between the 2 cities, instead of going on the government highway and getting pulled over and everything, they said it would take 2.5 hours. Well, now it's like 48 minutes.
No
Isn't
kidding.
that
Under
something?
an hour if you want to fly.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds
Good.
fun.
Yeah.
I want to
like
go.
that. Yeah, I think that's good.
Maybe we should. That's what we should have done with 93.
Wouldn't that, you know what?
We wouldn't need that
Going-
gas
no,
tax.
absolutely.
There you
We
go.
could have privatized it.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
You should plug your show too.
Oh yeah, I have a show every Thursday and Sunday on 8 o'clock. New Hampshire Politics with John Burt. I do. I've been 5 years now doing.
Wow.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So is it the same show, or do you do one show a week?
That. One show a week,
One
and then
show.
it's aired all week.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah, yeah. They got a new gentleman that's and he has more budget. That's why the TV station is really doing a lot better.
Good, good to
Excellent.
know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent. All right. Well, we'll wrap up. John, thank you so much.
Well,
It was,
thank you for having me on.
Nice to see you
absolutely,
again.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to get back to work up to Concord.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
After the 4th.
Absolutely.
And Jane, a pleasure as always.
Oh, thank you, Matt.
And I say you're honorable, even if you don't want to. And that's it for now. Gary, we love you if you're watching, and we'll talk at
Bye,
y'all later.
Gary.
Bye-bye.